Good evening and welcome to Midnight Movie Club and my breakdown of the final trailer for Dr. Sleep. Once again, watch for book spoilers ahead and possible film spoilers as if any of what I say does come to fruition. So there is quite a bit to talk about in this one and we get some answers to questions we have had here in the channel, so let's get into it. Straight away we get an aerial shot reminiscent of that classic shot from The Shining with the bug driving up that winding mountain road towards the Overlook Hotel. This time it is Dan, all grown up, going back to where it all started. This answers one question I had: is the Overlook Hotel still standing in Dr. Sleep? And yes, it is. I thought in the first trailer the scene with Dan in the Overlook may well have been a vision, but here we can clearly see it's not, as he's driving up and going through its front doors and later on taking someone else with him. This is one difference we all know from the books, is the Overlook is still destroyed in the Dr. Sleep novel and the final battle takes place near where it once stood, but now with it still standing from Kubrick's The Shining, the final battle could actually take place in the Overlook, and even though it's a deviation from the book, it's a good one in my opinion. We get a few lovely shots of Dan walking through the lobby and the halls on his way to the caretaker's room in the West Wing where the Torrances stayed. While we see these shots, we hear Dan say, "When I was a kid, there was a place, a dark place. They closed it down, let it rot, but the things that lived there, they come back." And as he says this, we get another awesome recreation of a classic scene with the Grady twins appearing in the hallway saying, "Hello Danny." What a mint way this was to kick off the trailer in my opinion, really hammering home that this is a sequel to The Shining for people who may not have any idea, and giving us a nice little bit of Kubrick nostalgia. Now, I do have my problems with Kubrick's film after reading the book, but I see good things in the film and the book along with the bad things. To me, they are pretty equal. I am liking though how this adaptation of Dr. Sleep will merge the two, but give me your opinion in the comments. Now moving on, and we see Dan making his way to New Hampshire and arriving in the town of Frasier, I'm guessing, if it is staying true to the book. We also get our first look at Cliff Curtis, who will be playing Billy Freeman, and I love Cliff Curtis, so I'm super keen to see him in this role. Billy becomes a real good friend to Dan and proves a valuable companion in the end. And in this scene here, he's kind of interrogating Dan when they first meet, wondering why he's come this far north, guessing he's running from something, which he is, his alcoholism. Then right after that, we get a wonderfully spooky shot with Dan lying in his bed on his side with a ghostly arm wrapped around him. Obviously, as Dan has become more sober due to not drinking or taking drugs anymore, he's now regaining his shining abilities. One of those abilities is sadly spooning creepy spirits. Whose arm that is though, we do not know yet. Possibly the woman from room 237, a woman we may meet at the start of the film from Dan's younger drug-filled years called Deanie, or even his mum, Wendy Torrance. We then see a little more of Dan and Abra's chalkboard conversation where they first interact telepathically just before we see their first meeting again outside the town's library. That's just before we get an old shot from The Shining of Dan outside the room 237, right as he tells Abra he calls it The Shining. So that stuff we've kind of seen from the first trailer, it's just reiterating what is going on here. So after that, we see a little bit more of when the True Knot grabs Snakebite Andy outside of a theatre playing Casablanca, which is a little bit different to the book. In the book, it's Indiana Jones and Rose grabs her with her mind. She doesn't actually physically grab her, but maybe this way was just a little bit easier to do and more practical. Then, as Dan says, the world's a hungry place, a dangerous place, we then get a look at the True Knots campground with their Winnebagos round a fire pit. This looks like a pretty industrial area to me, and I reckon this might be where they kill Baseball Boy. If you read the book, then you know who I'm on about. This shot is then cut into a shot with Andy's turning scene right after, but I think that is just clever editing, as in the first trailer it looks like Andy is turned at a beach or something like that. Then again, I could be wrong, and this could just be an aerial view of the turning ritual about to take place. If you want to know more on the turning ritual, I'll leave a link to a video I done on it down below. We get another look at Rose giving Andy some of her steam to turn her, and it's more of an extended look than the first trailer. I really like how the steam moves and swirls. Remember, steam is the life essence of a shining, gifted child, so it should move and look a little bit different to normal everyday steam or smoke. But I think it looks really cool here, and I'm really looking forward to seeing more of it. Right after that shot of Andy inhaling it and screaming, we get a rather terrifying look at what may well be the true knot possibly feeding. Once again, it could just be Andy's turning, but the way Rose looks towards us makes me think that it is the feeding of Baseball Boy, and she has sensed someone has seen them do it. It may well be a vision Abra is having after seeing Baseball Boy on a missing poster and touching it. Rose's eyes are also like Andy's, as if she has just took some steam. In saying this though, the others look like they are chanting, which is associated with the turning ritual, so there is a good chance it's just the turning. Anyway, moving on, Abra tells Dan these people, being the true knot, hurt people like us, just before we get a very interesting shot. To me, this looks like the death of Grandpa Flick. It looks like he's just cycled out like the true knot do when they die. There is what looks to be a steam cloud in the shape of someone lying on his or her side, and Rose looks to be kneeled down beside it, possibly mourning. So I do think this is where the true knots start dying at the hands of measles after a kid they devoured passed it on to them. This is where things will ramp up, and Rose will not stop at anything to get to Abra to stop the true from dying. And just before the shot ends, the rest of the true hurry in to eat all of the steam that is there. So possibly this was just another feeding ritual, and that was the steam produced from a child that they've just gone nuts over. Or they're just that low on steam and hungry that they eat Flick's steam. I can't remember if that happens in the book or not. I don't think it did though. If you do know, let me in the comments. If that's the case though, and they're just so desperate they'll resort to like cannibalism of steam, that's pretty fucking gnarly. I like that. Right after that, we hear the classic Shining score, and we get our first dialogue from Carl Lumbly as Dick Halloran. He says, "These empty devils, they'll eat whatever shines." Right as we see the true knot move in on a little girl Rose was talking to in the first trailer, I reckon there's going to be some really disturbing scenes between the knot and the kids they take, especially with the film being rated R. We then actually get our first look at Halloran, and I have to say he does look so similar to Scatman Carruthers from The Shining. Absolutely spot on casting. He's telling Dan that they have noticed that little girl, obviously Abra, obviously trying to get Dan to help her. So as we know in the book, Halloran survives The Shining and is alive at the beginning of Doctor Sleep, but obviously here, this being a sequel, he's dead. So this must be him coming back as a ghost. I wonder if he'll get to teach Dan about the lockboxes or not. Also, where do you think this interaction is taking place? Dan's house or the Overlook? Is Halloran's spirit now tied to the hotel since he died there in Kubrick's film? We also see Abra and Rose having their first proper showdown as Abra comes after her telepathically while Rose is in a supermarket. Really cool how it transitions from Rose putting her hand in her hair to it being Abra's hair. I'm just really looking forward to these sort of psychological telepathic battles that these two are going to have, and just the visuals that are going to come with that. After that, we then see Abra freak out as Rose infiltrates her head just before Rose is smashed back by the power of Abra's abilities, and this is where she realises how strong this kid is and how good her steam would be, as Rose tells someone, "I haven't felt power like that in so long." We then get what looks to be like a meeting between the two on a deserted road, but Abra could possibly be astral projecting here like she does sometimes in the book. It is one of her abilities. We also get a shot of Abra and her father just before we get an awesome shot of the lady from 237 pulling back the shower curtain. This is a closer look than the first trailer, but it's just as creepy. I wonder if this is near the start as we see a younger Dan, or as Dan regains his shine. The way they cut it, it looks like Abra is the one seeing her, but I don't think that that's the case. I think she's seen something else or having a vision, maybe Baseball Boy or the True Knot. We then get another recreated shot, that classic aerial shot winding over the lake, this time in the cold dark night, before we see the overlook buried in snow. Abra asks where they are going and Dan responds, "There's a place." Maybe he is thinking of using the overlook to their advantage for some reason. Also, if this is leading up to the final battle, it's interesting to see Abra is there and not astral projecting, playing the truth for fools like in the book. It seems like they are going for a straight up fight. Really looking forward to that. Then we get the same shot again of red rum on the chalkboard and Dan sliding into it, and we can also see something else added below that looks a lot like Baseball Boy. We also get a really cool shot of Abra floating in her room. To be honest, no idea what's going on here. Maybe she's astral projecting, who knows, maybe it's a new ability that she's got for the film. Then we get my favourite part of the trailer, Rose the Hat in the Overlook maze. How fitting would it be for them to throw down there? The maze was something I loved from the film and thought worked better than the hedge animals from the book, but that's just me. We then get a quick shot of Snakebite Andy making her date at the cinema before she's grabbed fall asleep. More of Dan walking the Overlook halls. I would love for him to see the bear costume guy again and get some answers to who the fuck he is and what the fuck he's doing. Or the guy in the dog costume from the book. I thought that scene in The Shining, the dog costume guy, it was terrifying. I'd love to see something like that. Also some other very interesting shots of what looks like Abra using telekinesis to crash a van or something like that. I'm wondering if that's the van Crow Daddy has taken her in to give to the True Knot. Maybe that's it crashing and that's how she escapes. Just as Rose does something similar, exploding the snow in the maze everywhere, just making some really nice visuals. I'm not too sure if it's snow or steam, but I imagine it was snow. Why would she expel that much steam for no reason? Also, that line where she says, "You will scream for years," is brilliant. I love that. Rebecca Ferguson does look like she's really killing it as Rose the Hat. And we also see that this last fight is going to be a bit more physical than the one in the book. We see Rose on top of Dan, looking like she sucked some steam out of him. That didn't sound good. Anyway, she either sucked some out of him or she has given him some. I can't quite tell yet. Just before we get a cut of the bloody elevator again, that classic shot, and then more of the Grady sisters trying to get Dan to come and play forever and ever. I really like how they're intertwining old shots with this trailer. It's one of the things that really made it a great trailer for me. And just the little things like that, like the Grady twins showing up again, just real nice touches. After that, we get a horrifying shot. We see loads of arms dragging Dan somewhere, and I reckon it's pretty obvious this is all the spirits of the Overlook trying to finally get his soul after all these years. I would love to see Jack at this point, maybe some redemption for him as he stops them from taking his son or something like that. But even if we don't, this scene looks very intense on its own and I can't wait to see how it plays out. I really loved this trailer, if you couldn't tell already. Showed us enough but not too much, answered some questions, raised more, and the music was incredible. That new spin in the original score was brilliant. I'm just really hoping that this film's going to live up to my expectations now, but I do believe in Mike Flanagan, so fingers crossed. Let me know what you thought of the trailer in the comments section down below, and if you haven't, check out my full Dr. Sleep playlist for everything you need to know before the film releases on November 8th. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like, and if you haven't already, then what are you doing? Subscribe to join the club. As always, thank you very much for watching, and good night.